Hey guys, Jonah here, back with a beer review. And yeah, I've been drinking a lot of these Balkan beers. So a few days ago, I was in ASDA, just happened to be going through there. And they've kind of done a lot of different beers. So I did their deal, four for £3. That would be good. No, four for the price of three. So you get four cans of beer, and they basically take off the cheapest one. So it's usually a good idea if you can to get four beers of a very similar price, and then that way you get one free. And the ones I got were all, I can't actually remember, but I think it was between £3 and £3.50, which works out about, I mean, roughly you're looking at £2.50 for a beer. In the old days, pound a beer was what I was looking for, but these days I'm a bit more, open to trying different ones. But what I found was a lot of beers from, guess who? The Garden Brewery. Our Croatian friends who basically brewed every single beer in the current Balkans box that I'm drinking. Well, I've got the new box now, the Italian one, but I'm still polishing off the Balkans one. And this one is Oseka. I thought it was Osaka and had some sort of Japanese thing, but I don't know if it is. It's Oseka. I've no clue what that's about. Anyway, it says fresh and juicy, mouth-watering, hazy beer, bursting with waves of citrus, melon, and passion fruit, which is kind of cool. And I had my glasses on because it's incredibly difficult to read, but the information is definitely on there. 6.2 on the ABV, which is brilliant. Uh, Made in Croatia. So you're getting a 6.2% beer. I've got a couple of 8%ers as well, all for £2 each. It's like, or 2.50 each. That's pretty damn good in my book. Right, get my beautiful face out of the way. So I began reading this, and all of it is in foreign foreign language and crazy stuff. GB does say here we've got oats and wheat, which is good to know. But when I got down here, this is where things actually turned out pretty good. So it tells you, so we've got extra pale malt, Munich malt, some carapils, flaked wheat and flaked oats. Good to know what the malt bill is. Then we've got the hops. So we've got Citra. We've got HBC 431, which is an experimental hop, obviously. We've got Simcoe and Galaxy. So Simcoe's where the juiciness comes from, I'm sure. And then this, I had to look this up on the interwebs. Juice machine hops. Juice machine yeast, which you can get. Sorry, I'm trying to read it on the screen, and my hand's wobbling because obviously I can't pick up a 440 can without it wobbling. I think that's fantastic. IBU level, they don't usually say that either. It's 30, so it's not exactly a really hoppy beer, although it's not a bitter beer, put it that way. Avoid the pregnant ladies, recycle, do all that thing, don't drive, make sure you're 18, and all that kind of jazz. And I like the colour as well. This pinky, sort of pinky yellowy kind of colour is traditionally a Garden Brewery type colour that they use. But I quite like this. Very simple branding, but it really stood out on the shelf. I saw it straight away, and I was like, yeah, man, I've got to have one of those. Apparently, you can get these from Beer 52, but they're probably going to be more expensive than £2.50, which is my deal price, or the best I can work it out in my head. And I haven't had any beer yet today. I was out over the weekend, so I didn't really do too much, and went to the Wetherspoons, the biggest one in the country, and they were doing Operation Dynamo type stuff there because it's May. and it was a really good day. I was out in the sunshine probably most of the day. I bumped into a few people that I hadn't seen for a while. I think it was about 5 or 6 people throughout the course of the day, and it ended me bumping into an old workmate that I hadn't seen for like 2 years, and his girlfriend. Uh, Happy days. It was really happy days, and I even got a reasonably cheap pint of Jaipur by the Thornbridge Brewery, which is always nice. It's a little bit too bitter for me these days. An old school IPA. I'm so used to these hazies, these modern ones, that when I drink an old school one, whoop, it's yeah, it's really puckering. Right, let's do this before I forget. I've been forgetting to do these kind of shots lately, but because I'm an idiot, basically. There we go. That's how we do things. Oh, it is juice, poor juice. So that's a selfishly fat finger. Yeah, nowhere near 2. Finger and a half if you're being polite, unless you've got a bandage on your finger. I somehow managed to cut myself when I was gardening, believe it or not, which is crazy. Not on the shears. I actually cut my finger on a leaf. Can you believe that? It was yeah, one of these sort of tropical palm type things. Look at that. That's proper. That is near enough juice. That is definitely what I would call a cloudy beer. Mm, it's really juicy, no doubt from the Citra and possibly the experimental hop, but there is a bit of kind of greenness in the background. Smells quite light, fresh. It's got some carapils in it, and I always find the carapils, yeah, it gives it a well, carapils and to some degree dextrin, but hasn't got dextrin in here. Give a bit of that kind of chalky thing going on. Maybe that's just me and my kind of tastes. I've got to kind of drink. I shouldn't be drinking too much beer because of medical stuff, but I need to tune in my yeah, my senses because I'm doing a lot of beer judging coming up. So what I'm going to do, and I'll let you know, dear viewer, if this actually works, but is not drink large volumes of beer. So if you know me, when I go out, I don't usually drink pints that often. I do, but and that's a four. This one's a 440 can, but I'm usually drinking halves. But what I'm going to do for my judging is you have a very small one, probably under a half, maybe a quarter of a pint. So you can get through all the beers that you're judging before you get really drunk. And then, because you're at a beer festival, you get really drunk. That's usually what happens. But when I'm out beer judging, I'm going to do my very best not to get superbly drunk. Um, because I'm doing like I think I'm doing three competitions in 3 weeks. It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. Anyway, that is coming up. But this one is going down. And you know how I like to have things going down. So cheers and beers, dear viewer, and we'll see what we get from this one. Oh, that is lovely. Oh, nice. Bit of a hit of the bitterness right at the end. But this is almost like drinking breakfast tropical juice. Um, oh, and there's a lot of high notes. I wasn't getting them early on because it's really juicy and creamy to some degree too because of the oats and the wheat. I always say it, but that's what happens with the hazy beers. But yeah, some high. Did they say melon on here? Citrus, melon, and passion fruit. So passion fruit, I'm just calling tropical fruit, but melon. Ah, interesting. So that's those kind of high notes that I was getting late on in this beer. Really good though, but yeah, lots of green as well. What were the hops in here? Let me remind myself. Citra. Okay, that'll be it. Citra and Galaxy. Yeah, fair dues. That makes sense. And I've got a terrible memory, like a sieve. As if you've watched my videos before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I forget my own name sometimes. And why should we remember our own name? Doesn't really matter. But yeah, I've literally read it before I did the started this video, and I read it to you from the can, and I still forgot what it was. But that makes perfect sense. Dive in for some more. Oh, by the way, this I bought it maybe a couple of days ago, something like that, 2, 3 days ago. But I only put it in the fridge at lunchtime today, and it's really nice and cold. But it hasn't been sitting in there for too long. Didn't explode anyway because it's, you know, reasonably new beer. There is something to be said for drinking fresh, especially with a can. Oh, yeah, juice, little touch of cream, not really creamy, not as creamy as some I've had recently. That green thing is there secondary. It's not superbly in your face, but there's enough bitterness in there to know that this isn't just a piece of juice. This is a glass of juice, I should say. Um, and then those soft notes, melon, perhaps even sort of maybe lychee type fruits, you know, the white type fruits, maybe even a touch of grape, perhaps. Really nice, like right at the end, sort of taking you away with the angels. Those really high, I call them high notes, because they're really light, difficult to pick out unless you know that they're there or know to expect them. Um, but in the finish, which is really cool. And then yeah, passion fruit they're calling it. I might even call it just generic tropical fruit, kind of going all the way through, which is yeah, really nice. And what was the alcohol level? See, I've forgotten that as well. 6.2. So for a change, calling it a hazy IPA, they could have called it a NEPA, but they didn't. Um, wow, really, really nice example of a hazy IPA. Pardon me. Quite well carbonated as well. Um, Perhaps that's because I didn't chill it down too much. Head retention's kind of not really there. There's a little bit of kind of action going on the side of the glass. I suspect they haven't put as much oat in here as perhaps I thought at the beginning. Because when you look at it, you think, look at that, it's really, really opaque. Yeah, there's nothing going through there at all. But when you taste the beer, um, yeah, like I said, I've had really, really creamy ones that weren't as thick and cloud-like as this one. I'm really liking this beer. Why couldn't Beer 52 put a beer like this in my box? Oh, yeah, life is good. Life is good when you're drinking something like this. Maybe it's because I've been doing so much talking. Look, we do have some lines. Obviously, that one's kind of fading away. Thicker one, really thick one there. But on the back side of the glass, there's not really that much foam to speak of, which is a shame, because I like foam watch or head watch or whatever we're calling it these days. I love lacing on a glass. It makes my day. It's usually the darker beers, and I'm not sure exactly why that is, but maybe it's so dark malts and the kind of more stickiness sort of sticks onto the side of the glass. Who knows? I've had some hazy ones that stick on. Oh, yep, that is really, really nice beer. Like I say, I suspect, I very much suspect, and a couple of you guys that watch these videos quite often and give me some feedback, which is always appreciated. Thank you very much. In fact, why not give me a comment down below while you're thinking and listening to my dulcet tones? Um, but yeah, where was I going with this one? Um, yeah, the contract brew, and I 100% guarantee the Garden Brewery is a massive contract brewer. They've just built a huge brewery out there in Croatia. Um, and I think if they're not making their own beers and they're brewing for someone else, some other people, I think they're more likely to stretch things a little bit, perhaps. Maybe not put as much first class ingredients in, especially when they're brewing for beer 52, to make it go further. And you end up with a bit of a kind of wishy-washy beer. But I still would really, really like to go out there at some point and go to their tap room. I've looked at it online. It's massive. It's one of these aircraft hangar type places. But their bar is stocked up with some amazing looking beers. Um, yeah, maybe I'll get there one day. Who knows? Anyway, until then, dear viewer, please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Get down to ASDA if you live in the UK. Try out. I think there's three of the new, relatively new beers in the last few months, anyway. By the Garden Brewery. Why not track them down and drink them, and let me know what you think. Don't panic, because I'll be back and I'll be drinking more beer, and that'll be coming to a review on YouTube near you real soon.